JD, we're going to talk about LRZ and some other guys. So looking at the Chiefs running back room, you got the main guys, Isaiah Pacheco and CEH. But outside of that, that's where there's a giant question mark. We got Deneric Prince, Carson Steele, Keontay Ingram, Rees-Zammit, and Emani Bailey. Prince was our guy, a friend of the show, came on here last year, who trains with former Chiefs running back Derrick Blaylock, JD's former teammate. Carson Steele, running back who can provide a little bit of fullback elements, played at Ball State and UCLA. Keontay Ingram, who's the only one of these guys going for this third spot who has some NFL game experience as being a feature back with the Arizona Cardinals. LRZ, the rugby star from Wales, and everyone's favorite name, and I mean everyone's favorite name. And lesser-known guy is Emani Bailey from TCU, who's honorable mention All Big 12 last year, and probably my favorite guy of this group, flashing the most potential I see. But of these guys, JD, who do you think has the biggest mountain to climb as far as making the team as a third back? And who do you think has, I don't know, the easiest shot, but the shot that the clearest path to being the third guy of all these guys here?
Oh, man. Okay. Who has you said the easiest shot?
Yeah, who has the clearest path to the third spot and who has the biggest mountain to climb?
Man, that's a good question. I'm looking at this list of guys that you just named. I tell you what, I think Prince has maybe an easier shot just because he's been with us. I think him having a year under his belt, I think they like him a lot. He's fleet-footed. He's got some good size. We got just a little look at him, last year. But I want to see what he looks like this year in training camp. And the only reason I gave him a nod is because he was with the organization all last year. He learned a lot from Jet, Pacheco, CEH. He was in the room with those guys. And so I think that kind of gives you something like a leg up on some of these other guys that are kind of brand new. I like Steele. Steele is a guy that, like you said, has a little bit of the fullback flavor. We know he'll probably be a good special teams guy to play. The question is, do we need that type of talent, fullback wise? We do a whole lot of single back sets, and if we don't, then what we do, we'll have the tight end back there. That can be a Noah Gray or Irv Smith, right? As opposed to maybe a Steele. So it all depends on how we want to run the offense and what we want to do with it. He would be the lead back, the little fullback dive that we was doing years before. I'm glad we kind of got away from that somewhat. Hopefully don't bring it back. But I do like, Steele is kind of a long shot, I think. Now, Ingram, like you said, he has a lot. He has some ability. I remember seeing him play at Arizona, right? And he's got some game to him. He's got some game to him. He's going to probably be the most interesting guy to me as far as keeping my eye on him, what he's going to do. Okay, because he looked like he could just have a breakout year. I think he could move up on the ladder significantly because he has time. He's playing in an NF game. He has that experience, so that'll be different. Emani Bailey. Okay, so I didn't really watch a whole lot of TCU. I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you. Marcus, I know you know a little bit more about it. I told you I'm not really a big college guy. I don't really watch a whole lot of college games. But I take your word for it. I had to look at some of the things that he does. Pono Kanoy said, no to Bailey. He's another Darwin Thomas. Okay. Pono, like I said, I don't know anything about him. But, I like to look at him a little bit more. I know we have a little bit more of the experience on the field. With this guy, he might be one of those practice player guys. So Marcus just now told me, said his power went out. So everybody looking at Marcus right here. This is the last time you see him with power. So hopefully it'll be restored at some point. And if it's not, I'm sure we'll get him back on. But that was the question. If everybody's just getting on the chat to know who Marcus believes, who has an easier path on playing, Is it one of the guys, Keontay Ingram, Deneric Prince, Rees-Zammit, Emani Bailey, or Carson Steele, and Deneric Prince, right? LRZ. Okay, I'll talk about LRZ a little bit. LRZ has a lot of potential. I think LRZ can bring a lot to the table. LRZ is still learning the schemes and the plays, how people block. Some of the intricate parts are like opening up to receive a football like on a toss. Okay, it's a little bit different than it is kind of in rugby. But I think LRZ, because of what he could bring to the table, he's able to, move up on the depth chart. We'll just have to see and find out. I know I got some guys on here who are running backs in the past. What do y'all think? I want to hear what y'all have to say about, the running back room. Who do y'all think is easier getting on the depth chart, moving to their third position as a running back, and who will have a harder path, right? So let's see what's going on. I'm going to hear some of your comments. Okay. So Marcus said he might get back on. He said the power just came back on, so it'll be good. Virginia Hurricane. Yeah, Wendy. Yeah. Look, Hurricane is very powerful. I doubt it, getting up at Virginia, but Marcus, they have a lot of like different things going on up there in Virginia for sure. So no telling. But I know everybody, if you're an LRZ fan, okay, and like we talked about on Monday, Jeff was saying that LRZ, because he runs hard, he can catch the football, he's got toughness about him, he may be able to fit into their role. I do believe that LRZ is a guy that you could probably keep on the practice squad and let him develop. You could get him the entire year to get ready, to develop, to be on the team next year, or you want to move him up, you could possibly do that during the year. No doubt that he has the toughness. He'll be able to get that. With pads on, it's going to be a little bit different. So we'll just have to see. I know our guy, Newt, he hasn't been on here yet, but Newt always talks about LRZ. But it's hey, we'll be pulling for him, see if he's going to be able to make the squad. So, but as far as like running backs for us, we know Pacheco, we know CEH. And some people don't even like CEH. Some people think that CEH is a guy that is not of importance. Marcus, what's up, man?
My power went out. Yeah, I guess it's too hot. I don't know if I don't know what happened. The brackets. I don't know what happened.
Okay, I was kind of rambling a little bit here, just kind of talking, but I see right here in the chat, because I asked what everybody else what they thought it was. So Charles Drop said the LRZ will be special teams material. Absolutely, I think he will. He'll definitely be special teams material. Will that be enough for him to make it on the 53-man roster? I've said this before, and I was just telling them that if you do stash him for practice squad, he can develop in that area to get out here, right? Zulu said rugby player LRZ won't be able to survive NFL contact. Whoa. Okay. That's very interesting. It's different contact. It's different contact, I would say. He's tough enough to take it. I think he'd be able to take the hits. It's going to be coming from different angles. The pads on, it's going to be some bone-jarring hits, man. I mean, it's going to be full-fledged, jumping out of your shoes, hit guys in the chest. It ain't nothing like football hits, Marcus. It's nothing like it. I'm talking about full body shots. I know rugby, you ain't got no pads and stuff on, but I'm telling you, woo! When you see a guy who is 300-something pounds, 280, 300, running a 4.5, the amount of power and speed he's able to generate, it's a different. You talking about getting hit by a Mack truck, man? It's a Mack truck hit. So I think he'll be able to do it. I think he'll be able to do it though. So
Yeah, so I before I came off, I was talking about Emani Bailey. I was
okay,
I was right
yeah.
I was right
Money
about to
back.
get in that.
Yeah.
So Emani Bailey at TCU, I believe he went to Louisiana Lafayette before he went to TCU. Obviously nowadays, JD, none of these guys stay at one school anymore. Now he was at Louisiana Raging Cajun before he was at TCU, but I mean he showed a lot of flashes. Obviously he was second All Big 12 last year, and obviously offense is big in the Big 12. I think he shows a lot of good vision. But the one drawback to him is, and this is one thing a lot of people say he didn't get drafted, was his 40 time, and his 40 time wasn't out of this world. Was like, let me put it to you this way, JD. My 40 time was faster than his coming out of high school. I ran a 4.58. He ran a 4.61, 4.67. So,
Okay.
and I'm a fast guy, but I'm obviously not an NFL player. We're talking 4.61, 4.67 for a running back.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, I mean, that's why the big thing with him is vision. And it's like, okay, doesn't have breakaway speed. But I will say his game speed, it does look a lot. I mean, you watch him
Looks
in game,
faster.
you would never think he ran a 4.61 or a 4.67. He just plays faster. And you could talk about that, JD. There's a lot of guys out there who when it comes to game time, the action, that's when they take off.
Yeah.
Whereas the testing combine, just sometimes it's different for guys.
It's different, man. Because you line up and it's only you running, and you want to do well. And sometimes you just mess yourself up in the running scheme, but you get it on a football field, you run it for your life, it changes things. When you got a different incentive, imagine if a pit bull's running you down, you're going to get faster. You're going to find it from somewhere. I don't care where. You're going to have to go dig deep down to find it. And we knew Jerry Rice was one of those guys. His game speed was like no other. Like nobody else was going to be able to run Jerry Rice down once you catch the football. He ran a 4.5 something. Okay, they always talked about how fast he ran, but you get the ball in his hands, you could cancel Christmas. So, let me see. Pono Kyle, he said, rugby players are tough. They get full on blast. They have no pads. You got big boys in rugby too. Yeah. Pono, do you have big boys like a Chris Jones big boy? That's my question. Aaron Donald type of big boy. The defensive ends that looking at 6'6", 270 kind of big boys. If they do, and are they able to run guys down like gazelles? That's my question. So I know there's some tough guys in rugby. I watch rugby, and I respect the play. The game. I really do. But this is a different realm. It is. There's no doubt about it. So, but I think he could do it. Me saying that, I think he can definitely do it. Yeah.
Keontay Ingram, you were kind of talking about Keontay Ingram a little bit before we went off. He's an interesting one. Obviously, we picked him up like towards the end of last season, like January, I believe. He's got NFL experience, but my whole thing with him is, and his stats didn't blow anybody out of the water. I think he had to be the guy for Arizona because there was injuries, so he was automatically taken over. His stats weren't the best. So it's not like, oh man, this guy was a starter and he was great. He was a starter, but that was because guys were out, not because he beat anybody out for the spot. And he really never impressed there. Coming out of high school, he was great with USC, then he ended up transferring to, I think, Texas, I believe. But, yeah, he reminds me of Michael Pirine in a way, JD, where he was a guy who got NFL experience, never really caught on anywhere, got some chances, but never really did anything. And I also don't want the Chiefs to fall into the trap where this guy does tear it up in preseason. And again, it's a guy who's beating up against third stringers, guys who probably will never play in the NFL. And then we add him on the team as our third guy. I'd rather us honestly go with an LRZ type if that's the case. And we're talking about the third guy. we talked about this all the time. The third guy, the last guy in the wide receiver room, that guy's playing primarily special teams. Hey there, Marcus Dash here from Chief Concerns. Today, I'm here to tell you about our new affiliate partner, and that is Temu. You probably see them on your Instagram, Twitter feeds, even the Super Bowl commercials this past year. But today, I want to show you some of the good stuff that they have on the website, and I got a few Chief gems that I'll be doing a quick unboxing for you right here. So let's dig in. One of the first pickups I got from my Temu purchase was this Hollywood Brown jersey right here. Number 5, newest Chiefs edition. I think he's gonna have a really good year, but yes, you can get this on the Temu website, and I got this for about $15. Also got an Isaiah Pacheco jersey here. So yeah, I think, ooh, look at that. Isaiah Pacheco, boom, 15 smackaroos for this thing. Yeah, I think Isaiah Pacheco, yeah, I think he'll probably rocking this one out during the season for sure. Temu is the place to go for affordable Chiefs merchandise, and use our promo code for all the good stuff you can get on there. So yeah, get in on the affordable merchandise that Temu has for our Chiefs this upcoming season. And LRZ can actually show flashes where he can actually, if he can, he should be able to tackle. I mean, we're talking about him potentially being a kicker. So he's going to play special teams for that fact. And I think Donna even posted in here a little while ago that Mahomes even said that LRC never drops the ball. So, I mean, yes, he may have some struggles the way he catches the ball. His maybe not his I guess catching mechanics aren't the best.
Yeah.
But he can catch it at least. So that's good. So yeah, that's what. As long as you catch it, I think that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
But I think he provides something that maybe Keontay Ingram doesn't, even though Keontay Ingram has the most NFL experience. But then Deneric Prince, our guy from last year, I guess you can make the argument that 1 year in, he has that under his belt. He's been in the system for 1 year. Got a lot of one reps with the offense in training camp last year. But then LaMichael Pirine comes in there, takes that all away from him. And I don't know. So you think Deneric has the leg up on everybody as of right now?
I say so. You don't really hear too much about it, but I just think because he's been in the system that he has a leg up on guys. Sometimes it takes that. Sometimes to be coachable and be under guys, their thumbs, they'll definitely be able to, look at you. And I'm looking at it as opposed to like Keontay Ingram. Now I'm looking at he's like a small sample size. Yeah, I've had many attempts. Like the experience he had is not, really nothing to write home about. So, nah, man, I think Deneric Prince may have the leg up right now on all those guys. Now, that is still saying that LRZ is a guy, like I said, could definitely move up on the depth chart, could play special teams. He can be all those guys for us, and I think we'll just have to see. I think somebody said up here, where you at? Cameron Johnson. It's all going to be about LRZ's learning curve. He has the potential to be a jackknife for us. This year, Reed's offense is full dynamo. The schemes being the biggest part. Let's see him be in pads. Full of dynamite, I think is what he's. So it is the learning curve. Okay. It's going to be different angles. I was reading up when they were talking about the blocking schemas are going to be a little bit different for him because he doesn't really have blockers out in front of him like in rugby. Like the blocking scheme, how like everything separates. And I'm the NFL, the whole breeds. Like there's timing that is there that you get off experience being a running back. Completely different from rugby. And the running backs can tell you probably better than I can. But I know for me blocking, and when I see a running back, the type of vision you were talking about, Marcus, like you only get that after playing. You can only develop that playing a lot to know how guys going to come off and reading a block. That is all things guys acquire with time. So, yeah, you put LRZ on a roster and he sells tickets. I get it, but the Chiefs sell tickets anyway. Nope. We're the best team in the world, brother. And I don't disagree with you. People will come out there and bring him out there. So okay, he said there's no blocking in rugby. Got to learn that. It's huge. It's huge blocking scheme because it is timing. It is being able to follow your blockers, know where guys are blocking, know where the defense may be, especially running inside the line. Okay, I know a lot of like rugby's on the outside. You try to. It's never like in line that you're getting, through the hole. It's always outside, pitching to you in open field. Significantly different. And so somebody said if this was like, who was saying this? We get to this. Was talking about John Clifford was talking about. I think he was saying like Ray Lewis. If it's like Ray Lewis and those guys hitting you in the hole, that's going to be different. When somebody comes to take your head off that you're not seeing, that it comes off a blocking scheme and somebody not blocking them well, welcome to the NFL. You're going to know immediately if you made for this thing or not. So,
yeah. I will say, I think the key, and we've talked about this before, LRZ's ticket to this team is not going to be being the third running back. It's going to be the special teams aspect of him. Because it's going to take time, but the running back stuff that, the vision, the following the blocks, the scheme, that's going to take a lot of time for him. Whereas special teams, it's like, obviously there is, there's plays and stuff there's things, logic that goes into special teams.
yeah.
If he can kick it, he can go down there and make the tackle, just doing those types of things. I think he's going to make the team based on those things. But as far as being a running back and actually contributing on offense, I also don't see him contributing at all on offense, even if he makes the team as a third running back. I literally don't see him getting in any offense at all.
Really?
I don't. Do you think so? I know I'm going to get a lot of heat from it from our friends over across the pond. I don't see it for all these things we're talking about right now.
I'll say this, because you're with Andy Reid. Andy will develop at least a play for you. He'll have something. Yeah, you ain't just gonna be third running back and not gonna get. You're gonna get something. You better, especially with Andy. Andy's like, nah, I'm gonna draw something up for this guy, and we're going to make sure we have something for his strong suit, right? Whatever his talents and skill set is, we'll make sure we draft something up for him. Okay. So I disagree with that. Just because Andy didn't want to keep him in and have him as a third running back, if you ain't gonna get no shoot, yeah, hey man, you were 2 injuries away from being the guy. You know what I mean, Marcus?
True. Yeah, it's true.
Don't all of a sudden you look behind you. Where's your helmet? You trying to look for his helmet? He kicking his helmet around. We got to throw you in the game, man. We got to have you come in and win the game.
So if that's the case, they keep 4 running backs. They keep Carson Steele in there, so that God forbid they got to give it to LRZ. The guy's never, I don't know. I was looking at it and I'm like, are they really gonna? I guess we have to see how he looks in preseason, because right now we're just talking about a guy who's being plucked out of rugby and putting him on a football field and like seeing how it goes. And it's like you can see him catching 7-on-7 and routes on air all you want to, but that doesn't mean the guy's it's going to translate to 11-on-11.
So I've watched rugby, maybe not to the extent, but I don't know how much of. I know you get in pals and you kind of tackle, but those guys, when you get in pals, you pitch it before you get taken down, right? That's how you advance the ball. In football, you're going to get hit by 8 guys. They're going to hold you up. Pop, 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 pop. It's going to come from everywhere. So teams will know this. Teams is like, look, man, this guy's a rugby guy. We don't know how he does taking all these hits. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm like, if that guy LRZ comes in, he gets the football. If y'all don't tattoo him with the best of your ability to strip that ball off, y'all don't deserve to be in the NFL, right? There'd be conversations like that, right? Why y'all letting this rugby guy come in and do this to you? I'm telling you, this is a good conversation. So I'm just letting you know that it is different. It is different, Newt, and I get it. So I read something. And Newt, maybe you could kind of tell me about this. But somebody said, and I don't know how true this is. Like I said, I'm not in the rugby world, but somebody said they didn't really know who LRZ was until they start making these transitions into the NFL. You know, maybe in Wales and all that, they was just like, well, we knew he was good, but like as far as like this whole recognition of where he's at, he was just kind of like, he was good, but he was kind of like just a guy. Jared Haney laid out NFLers.
He was picked up by the Niners, but he was about 4 or 5 years older than what LRZ is now when he made the transition from rugby to the NFL. So that's why a lot of people love the LRZ potential, because he's coming over fresh in his prime, whereas this Jared Hayne guy came over later on in his career, after his rugby career was kind of done at 28.
Okay.
Didn't last long with San Francisco. I think he has some legal stuff, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it didn't last long in the NFL.
Now, look, Nuke, brother, I think I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to take him some time to transition once the pads and stuff come on. I do believe that. I have no doubts in his toughness, but it's gonna be a little different. Wingers are not fullbacks. Jared Hayden laid out NFLers. I'm sure he did. Should you play in the NFL, you better lay some folks out, or you ain't gonna be on the team. That's how it works. So I'm expecting LRZ to lay out a few people. I know you said earlier about knocking down a DB. Yeah, he better be able to do that. The question is, when you come on, I know Jeff said playing on the other side of the ball. When you have fast guys like a Tyreek Hill and guys like that, a little bit different. I don't know if the amount of athletic ability in rugby is like it is in the NFL. It's hard for me. I don't know. I never played rugby. What I see on the screen when I'm watching some of the linebackers in the league, they're good for a reason. Okay, Richard Rhoda. He played for the British Lions, which is the creme de la creme of British rugby. Okay, all right, cool. It's good. I mean, that's good. I'm learning. I'm learning all this about LRZ, right? So I only know what I know. So I'd like to know a little bit more. I'm just saying, I read some guys make that statement. I was like, that's kind of weird. That a guy that's a rugby guy said, well, he was just okay, but we ain't really hear about him like that. So up and coming star. So
yeah, from what I'm gathering is that there's a lot, because you and I are pretty new to this whole rugby world, and we're getting like a crash course over these last few months with the LRZ pickup. But it seems like there's a lot of different rugby leagues all around like the world. So you got the New Zealand style, you got all across Europe. So there's a lot of different mixes that I'm noticing. It's kind of like soccer. There's a bunch of different leagues, whereas NFL we just have the one league and that's it. But they got like these rugby leagues all over Europe and all over New Zealand. So it's kind of all over the place. So yeah, there may be some fans who are like New Zealand types who don't know some of these other guys, like the LRZs of the world. I don't know.
So I like this conversation that we're having in the chat right now. Okay, because you have some people that like Cameron Johnson said, this is no way qualifies LRZ, but he did play some little league and has been hit before, just not by an NFL player. But I think I read where he has played organized ball as a boy. Okay. Will that get him? Go ahead.
I haven't read that. I know that his dad played, and he grew up watching his dad play in some leagues over there. I didn't read that he played any organized football when he was younger. I know it was always his dream to do that. And he's been training for the last few years to do this, but I never heard that he. But regardless, playing youth league, but JD playing Pop Warner is not the same as playing.
No, it's not playing the NFL.
There's no weight classes.
Yeah, it's not even the same. Shoot, I would say it's not even like playing college. So, but yeah, so you have some people that think he's going to make the transition. You have other people that doubt he's going to make the transition in enough time, like you said, Marcus, to be one of the 53-man spots on a roster. So it's going to be very interesting to watch this during training camp. Look, we like being optimistic, okay? And I think you were kind of like, don't quite know about this guy. But the more you hear about it, and I know he's very passionate about getting out there on the football field and doing more, the more I'm rooting for this guy. I want him to do well. I want him to do well. So that's kind of where I'm at with this whole thing. Okay. Background is what it is, right? But he's got to make a significant jump to be in the NFL. Bottom line, okay? I don't think anybody has any misgivings about that, okay? So we'll see. And I think he will sell a lot of tickets, dude. I think, you get a whole different demographic fan base. Is always great. It's always a great thing. So
he's already selling jerseys in Europe. So, hey, he's selling jerseys. He'll sell tickets for sure.
Jerseys, man. No, shoot. That's always good. That's always good. No,
and then it goes to the Brownie debate. Say, is it merit? Are we going to give him the spot because he's selling jerseys, or or not? But yeah, I mean, again, I do think that his ticket to this team is going to be special teams, and I mean, if we are going to exploit the new kickoff rules, he could be very. He could be, like we said in a couple months ago, he could be a new trendsetter as far as bringing guys over from rugby to be kickers in the National Football League. Could be something like that.
Yeah. So Richard Rhoda said this Saturday, All Blacks versus England. Watch it and learn. Okay. I've watched rugby before, and I've sat there and I've one of the guys I used to go out and kind of hang with. He was a rugby guy. We used to talk all the time because he used to play football, and he would talk about it. He's like, man, I'm telling you. And he would always try to convince me about how good he was and I could come and play football. And I was just like, hey, man, look, I'm letting you know how different it is than it is on rugby from what I know. But I might make it a point, man, to try to check. I met an All Blacks champion that was a sled team Olympic pusher, an amazing man that taught me the war dance they do. Yeah. Yeah, no, shoot. We know the All Blacks are like you said, the cream of the crop for sure. But I got to watch a little bit more rugby, man. You got to watch a little bit more rugby for sure.
Yeah, we gotta get more into this so we can we know what we're talking about when they're talking about wings and backs and all that, all the different positions they have over there.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.